right. So Bob Payne, Senior Vice President at LifeSpeed. How are you today?
I'm doing great, thanks.
Great. Thanks for joining us on the Agile Leadership Camp videocast and for being one of our speakers as well.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm always excited to participate in new conferences, old conferences. I really love getting in front of different audiences and helping build community. That's kind of been my thing for a long time.
Excellent. Well, your company doesn't need a big introduction. A lot of people know your name, but why don't you go ahead and just tell our viewers a little bit about your company and yourself?
Sure. So I'm Bob Payne. I'm with LitheSpeed. A lot of people know us for our work in the Agile community. As a company, we've been around now for over a decade, focusing exclusively on lean Agile enablement. And that encompasses certainly the classic Agile methods, the scaling methods, but also lean management principles, lean product discovery. And we take enablement to mean anything that will help a company or individual move their delivery forward. So anywhere from training, coaching, consulting, that sort of thing. As a team, the principals in the organization, Sanjeev, Augustine, and myself have been working together since about 2000. I started my Agile journey in 1999 and formed the XPWDC, or Extreme Programming Washington, D.C. users group in around 2000. And I've been involved in the local community and conferences, the national conferences, and I run Agile DC, the local District of Columbia, Northern Virginia, Maryland regional conference. That's about 650 folks. And as an organization, LifeSpeed also runs the Agile Leadership Academy, which is a leader certification. The Lean Plus Agile DC conference, which focuses on lean product discovery, Agile delivery, and then our Agile Executive Forum that we run every year. And we're involved in lots and lots of conferences like the Business Agility Conference and your conference.
Right.
Really excited to be.
Sounds like you're into all kinds of different things: coaching, training, transformation, and this leadership certification sounds super interesting.
Yeah, we certainly have. It has been our primary focus, and our mission sort of says it all. Our mission is to make people's lives more valued, productive, and fulfilling. So it is more of a outward focus, and we believe that ultimately people are the generators of value in our organizations, and we focus on enablement at all levels, including leadership level, because changes can't happen without that level.
That's right. Sounds fantastic. So at the event, you're going to talk about the sticky problem of self-management, and that's something we're really passionate about too, is self-organization. So tell us what you're gonna tell the group.
Yeah, so and I'll have to see what I'll winnow down to the very short time slot. One of the things that we've seen in organizations that we've been working with, and even within our organization, as we're undergoing what some people will refer to as a teal transformation.
Sure, yeah.
Frederick Laloux's Reinventing Organizations.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of stress in Agile community on self-organization, and certainly self-management, self-organization is a key part of a transition to a more horizontal environment in a teal organization. And I think the sticky problem with self-management or insert self-organization is that, especially in the Agile community, we see that primarily as the golden ticket to autonomy.
Yeah.
But ultimately, Agile systems, Agile teams are about how do we create feedback and learning, operate as a team with some level of alignment towards goals of an organization. Because Agile teams rarely exist outside the environment of an organization.
Right.
And unfortunately, the classic model is people say, well, we don't need managers. We don't need project managers. I don't need to be aligned with what the organization, you've given me autonomy. But autonomy without ability or accountability is just vacation.
Right.
And if you look at Scrum or any of the other Agile methods, there's a high degree of accountability. There's a high degree of alignment that is gained through planning, through, even if you look at Scrum, the idea that the product owner would sort of own outcomes.
Yeah.
Then it is not just autonomy, right? We need to develop, and this is perfect for leadership, we need to develop the skill set for people to make delegated decisions. We need to explicitly delegate quite often. And people need to have the data available to them and the understanding of any cascading consequences of those decisions before it is responsible for people to be able to self-organize or to self-manage.
Yeah.
Scrum takes a bottom-up approach of bootstrapping that self-organization. But we believe, so I believe the sticky problem is we've handed over the keys to our 12-year-old and said, go drive.
Yeah.
Right? And they neither have the understanding of the rules of the road, they don't understand the consequences, they don't have the skills yet to be able to drive. And it becomes increasingly worse as you scale up to an organizational transformation as it relates to teal, where it may be everybody's responsibility on some level to understand not only, the analogy that Frederic Laloux uses for teal is it is an organism in an environment.
Yeah. Yeah.
And quite often those ideas are rooted in complex adaptive systems. So complex adaptive systems may have relatively simple rules, but there's quick feedback from the environment.
Sure. Yeah.
People to do, or ask people in the back office, in the front office to say, okay, not only is it your responsibility to understand what you used to do, but insofar as we're moving to a more horizontal organization, it is your responsibility to understand who you need to seek advice from organizationally. It is your responsibility to understand what the potential systemic outcomes of your decisions are.
Sure.
It's your responsibility to gain some level of alignment within the organization for a new initiative so that it is supportable and buildable. It's your responsibility to understand what is the effect of this experiment, this change that you want to make as a passionate, self-organizing individual. What does that mean to the organization, to the environment that you're operating in?
Sure.
And it is this delicate buildup of, and there are multiple different ways of tackling this idea of self-management. Certainly Buurtzorg has one, and they're a home health care organization, but they're in a highly regulated environment. So they can give nurses a great deal of freedom along the latitude that they're able to give freedom, because they're already so constrained. Morningstar has a completely different model, and they have a self-management institute, like they've worked on internally self-supporting systems for self-management, and they're running 40% of the US's tomato crops, very low margin business, through self-managing. No managers, very flat hierarchy, but extraordinarily diverse roles. And so the sticky problem is people want to jump to the future, and there's no clear templates available to them. And it is a wicked problem insofar as to get answers for how you will solve the problem of self-management, you need to experiment, fail, and quite often we jump too quickly to a more universal autonomy measure rather than an enablement and model. And leadership can't just hand over the keys. They need to be willing to delegate. They need to be able to create the space for self-management, self-organization to occur. But their principal job is to build the skills, to build the systems in which an emergent property of self-management can actually happen in a way that's not existentially threatening to the business, right? Because if the environment collapses, if the business closes, then there is no place for the team or the individual to sort of
what I usually tell our clients is, you still need leadership, you still need architecture. It's just not the leadership and architecture that you think.
Yeah.
And you were talking about reinventing the organization. I read that book and Brian Robertson's Holacracy book in the same vacation. And, obviously some different ideas and approaches there, but everybody's trying to get to the same thing.
As an umbrella concept, yeah. I think what a lot of people don't see is that even within the Lalou book, there were actually many different models.
Right. Yeah.
And Birtsorg and Morningstar being I think the two sort of extremes.
It seems like new solutions to the same problems we've been trying to solve our whole careers. You look about the same age as me, and we've been talking about pushing responsibility down to the people doing the work since at least since 1980, and in my career, and it seems like we're finally starting to get some models popularized that do just that. I think both of those books represent some pretty good ideas in responsibility management.
Yeah. But I think the sticky problem is we are applying really lightweight solutions to a very complex problem.
I agree. A lot harder than it looks.
Yeah. Exactly.
All right, Bob. Well, Bob Payne, Senior Vice President, LitheSpeed, thanks so much for your interview today. And we're looking forward to hearing you speak at Agile Leadership Camp on May 3rd.
Great. And I'm looking forward to presenting at Agile Leadership Camp. So thank you very much.
Excellent. Thanks.